making headlines tonight. The Prime Minister calls for a kingdom better prepared to fight the effects of climate change as Cambodia marks its second National Disaster Management Day. The Angkor Warriors dispatch Guam 2-1 to advance to the third round of the 2023 Asian Championships. And a solar eruption triggers a jaw-dropping display of the Aurora Borealis. This is the Daily Roundup on the EAC News Channel. A very good evening to you. I'm Andrew Barnes-Roberts. On Cambodia's second National Disaster Management Day, Prime Minister Hun Sen has called for a strengthened disaster management mechanism. He wants a focus on disaster risk reduction to prepare for responding to various hazards related to climate change. The kingdom's National Disaster Management Day is now celebrated every year on the 13th of October, in line with the ASEAN Day for Disaster Management and the International Day for Disaster Reduction. EAC News reporter Reo Soko has the story.
Cambodia's National Disaster Management Day is focused on the theme Increasing Disaster Risk Preparedness for the Safety and Resilience of Villages and Communes. This is aimed at building awareness and enhancing preparedness for facing adverse events. Prime Minister Hun Sen released a special message through his social media page on Wednesday. He says it is still not appropriate to hold a public celebration of the day due to COVID-19, but to rather conduct educational campaigns on disaster risk reduction. He says the COVID situation in the country has not yet improved, saying this is another kind of disaster in addition to fires, floods, droughts, and other climate change-related incidents. With this, the Prime Minister has called on ministries and institutions at the national and sub-national level to strengthen these disaster management mechanisms. He has urged the private sector and civil society development partners to continue cooperating in mobilizing the necessary resources to ensure effective implementation of disaster risk reduction for resilience in response to climate change. He's also called on everyone to continue practicing the health ministry's 3 do's and 3 don'ts and get their booster shots to fight the continued spread of COVID-19. Lastly, the Prime Minister has encouraged everyone to uphold the culture of sharing based on the spirit of helping each other, strengthening the spirit of national unity, maintaining peace, political stability, and economic stability to ensure the well-being of the people and the development of the nation. Rhea Soko, EAC News.
With the rainy season coming to an end, it seems to have saved the worst for last. Days of heavy rain this month have caused flooding in Banteay Meanchey and Battambang, swollen rivers in Kampong Speu and Phnom Penh, and Typhoon Kompasu has swamped roads in Koh Kong. EAC News reporter Yuri Matosko has the latest.
Typhoon Kompasu has heavily affected Koh Kong's Kamarak Puman district. Mayor Cheng Savanda is confident the water level will start to recede, but he says it's not just the weather that's to blame. He says residents throwing garbage onto streets and into canals has only made a bad situation worse. The Ministry of Water Resources and Meteorology says the typhoon will continue to impact the country's weather for the next week, bringing heavy rain to much of the kingdom. That's not come as great news for Banteay Meanchey, where 1,500 families have already been evacuated from their homes over the past 15 days. Water levels have started dropping, although more heavy weather could reverse the situation. According to the National Committee for Disaster Management, Serei Support City and Mongkol Borei District are the worst affected areas. Provincial Governor Om Ratrey has announced that more than 48 rural roads have been swamped. In the capital, officials are closely monitoring the Priatanog River, which is in danger of flooding, although as of Wednesday morning, water level has started to drop. The river had been rising thanks to the increase in water from its tributaries in Kampong Speu. The Ministry of Water Resources and Meteorology has announced that the worst of the rain will fall in the next 48 hours. It's urging everyone in low-lying areas to be on alert. Yuri Matosko, EAC News.
Although almost 12 million Cambodians have been vaccinated against COVID-19, the country's daily cases are still climbing. On Friday of last week, 203 daily cases were reported. By Monday, that number was 258. On Tuesday, it was 267. On Wednesday, another 272 cases were confirmed by the Health Ministry, representing an increase of almost a third since last Friday. 15 more deaths have also been reported. 494 patients have been discharged, though, in the past 24 hours, taking the number of active cases down to 3,745. The latest numbers take the kingdom's total COVID-19 case count to 115,607. The death toll has reached 2,559. The number of patients treated successfully has climbed to 109,267. Unlike the first and second phases of the capital's vaccination campaign, when hundreds of thousands of adults rushed to get their shots, the capital's booster shot campaign is off to a much slower start. To date, about 1 million of the capital's 2 million adults have come forward for a third dose. So how are people feeling about getting a third shot of vaccine? EAC News hit the streets of the capital to find out.
The booster shot campaign started on Monday this week with a launching ceremony led by Defense Minister Tia Ban. He declared that 3,500 troops are helping 152 medical teams across the capital. On the first day of the booster shot campaign in 11 of Phnom Penh's 14 districts, almost 58,000 residents went to get their third dose. On the second day, the number increased to 90,000. But it seems there's not as many people coming as expected. The waiting lines are smaller and some seats are empty. It's believed many residents of the capital still need to wait for the end of the 4th-month waiting period from their initial vaccination. It's thought some factory workers are also waiting to be given a paid day off, even though government has asked factories owners and directors to facilitate this. Either way, those who did arrive for their booster shots on Wednesday were more than happy.
I'm very happy, very pleased that we're going to get this booster shot, and I think how well Cambodian government has done compared with a lot of countries. Even the Western countries, they're not keeping up with Cambodia. I think a very fine job of the government doing. Well, I think people are getting complacent because now the number of COVID is coming down. So people think, well, why should we have the third shot? But I'm afraid they're so wrong. You take your third shot.
Another man told us that some people he knows are afraid of the side effects of the vaccine.
And some people, when they got injection, they get pain or they get sick or something like that. That's why that sometimes they just got afraid with that. But when the people finish one injection, the next injection, they can also see it's no problem with that. That's why that all the people start to trust and believe this is work.
Hian Man told EAC News that she doesn't believe enough people are aware of the booster shot campaign.
I think some people know about it and some not, because they just got their second dose or first dose, and some people haven't got their first dose yet.
Here, at the Phnom Penh Referral Hospital, people fill the vaccination center one by one, looking forward to receive their vaccination jab. The line isn't as big as when the government rolled out the first and second dose vaccination campaign, but the health authorities hope this Wednesday they will see the people coming more than Monday and Tuesday. Yuri Matosco, EAC News, Phnom Penh.
After years of clearing the kingdom's provinces of the remnants of war, the royal government is working hard to declare Kaip the country's first mine-free province. This was discussed during Tuesday's meeting between the Cambodia Mine Action and Victim Assistance Authority and the Hungarian Embassy. It's been helping Cambodia with its mine-free village pilot project. EAC News reporter Reo Soko has more.
The Mine-Free Village pilot project is underway in Damnak Chang-e village in Kaip's Prey Thom commune. With this project, the Hungarian government, through its embassy in Cambodia, is providing humanitarian assistance equivalent to $28,570. First Vice President of the Cambodian Mine Action and Victim Assistance Authority, Lee Tut, has expressed gratitude to the government and people of Hungary in supporting mine clearance operations in the country. On Tuesday, to ask Hungary's charge d'affaires, Istvan Bakush, to continue the country's support for the mine-free village project in two other villages in Kip province. These are Chamka B and Chamka Chek. When these two are cleared of mines, Kip will be declared as the first ever mine-free province in Cambodia. The government says there are a total of 10 minefields in Kip, and the province will be declared mine-free just as soon as these are cleared. Bakush has said that Hungary is happy to see the development of mine clearance operations in the kingdom. He says he'll visit Kip soon to see the results firsthand. Rhea Soko, EAC News.
Cambodia's crackdown on drugs is working. By the beginning of October, authorities said they'd already detained 9,828 drug-related suspects over the first 9 months of this year. That's down 37% year-on-year. In the past week, over a span of just 3 days, Phnom Penh provincial police were active in the crackdown and arrest of 4 Chinese nationals for drug-related crimes, while in Phnom Penh, a Nigerian national is also now in custody. Sihanouk Provincial Police Commissioner Major General Chun Narin has confirmed that the province's anti-drug task force coordinated with the deputy prosecutor of the provincial court in arresting the 4 Chinese nationals. They were allegedly caught with ice, yaba tablets, ketamine, and ecstasy. In Phnom Penh, according to the National Police General Commission of the Department of Anti-Drug Crimes, special forces arrested a Nigerian national on Sunday, allegedly with 500 grams of ice. Cambodia has a strict policy about drug taking and trafficking in the kingdom. On Monday, a Belgian national launched an appeal against his life sentence, handed down by the Phnom Penh Municipal Court for drug trafficking. The 34-year-old Belgian, initially sentenced in absentia in 2018 until he was caught, was charged with drug trafficking at Phnom Penh International Airport back in January 2018. Well, now for a look at news making international headlines this Wednesday, the 13th of October.
The Aliso fire in California has nearly doubled in size, with the flames now spanning more than 5,000 hectares. It is 0% contained, forcing the closure of parts of Highway 101 and prompting evacuations. At least 100 homes are threatened. The fire jumped from the east side to the west side of the freeway on Tuesday. Hundreds of firefighters are battling the blaze. It broke out on Monday afternoon near Aliso Lake in the Santa Ynez Mountains. It's being stoked by sweltering and dry conditions that experts say are symptomatic of climate change during a summer fire season already shaping up as one of the most destructive on record. Last month, U.S. President Joe Biden approved a disaster declaration for California after a series of wildfires hit the state.
A car bomb has exploded near a market in the northern Syrian town of Afrin, which is controlled by Turkey-backed Syrian opposition fighters. 6 people have been killed, while 12 others have injured, including 2 children. Video footage shows smoke billowing from a fire burning in the street, while emergency service workers spray water into burning vehicles. Turkey has blamed previous bombings in Afrin on the Syrian Kurdish group YPG, which held the Afrin area until Turkish forces seized the region in a cross-border military operation in 2019. Turkey regards YPG as a terrorist group tied to the Kurdistan Workers' Party and has staged incursions into Syria in support of Syrian rebels to push it back from the Turkish border. YPG views Turkey as an invader and occupying force.
And the eruption of the Cumbre Vieja volcano shows no signs of abating. As a river of molten rock continues to flow in the northeast of the Canary Islands of La Palma, authorities ordered more than 700 residents of La Laguna to leave their homes with their belongings and pets. The eruption began on 19 September and has already laid waste to nearly 600 hectares. Torrents of molten rock have destroyed almost 1,200 buildings and forced the evacuation of 6,700 people. The only good news is that claims spread on social media about the eruption potentially causing a tsunami have been dismissed as remote. The theory is based on a 2001 research article that the islands of La Palma is at risk of undergoing a large landslide, which could cause a tsunami across the Atlantic Ocean. The U.S. Tsunami Warning Center says it is continuing to monitor events of La Palma.
Stay with the Daily Roundup. Coming up after the break, a look at the day's sports news. EAC News fully supports the Royal Government of Cambodia's preventative and administrative measures against COVID-19. But we need you to play your part in helping bring the 20 February community transmission event to an end. Wash your hands regularly, sanitize wherever possible. Keep an eye on your body temperature. Use the Stop COVID QR code and maintain a safe social distance. But above all, please, 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 wear a mask. Only together can we beat COVID-19. EAC News' audience is growing. Our YouTube channel has over 150,000 verified subscribers. To mark the milestone, we've received the Silver Creator Award from YouTube. It's given to channels with over 100,000 subscribers. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki says the award celebrates EAC News' hard work and incredible achievement. She says we brought a unique voice and style to the world, but have also created valuable connections and built a community along the way. The next milestone we're going for is 1 million subscribers, and we'd really like that Gold Creator Award. So if you're not already a subscriber, head to YouTube and search for EAC News. Subscribers get alerts when the Daily Roundup is premiering and live events are streaming. Get all the latest breaking news and updates from Cambodia in English. The EAC News channel on YouTube. Cambodia made clear. If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me, Andrew Barnes-Roberts, and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear. Prime Minister Hun Sen has congratulated the national football team on their victory over Guam in the second round of their AFC playoff in Bahrain. As promised, he's awarded them $100,000 for making it through to the next round of the championships. He's also commended team manager Keisuke Honda for leading the team so successfully. Kickoff was at 11 p.m. on Tuesday night, and Cambodian fans who stayed up late to watch weren't disappointed. But they had a tense first half to get through, with Guam going 1-0 up in the 36th minute. In fact, just 4 minutes into the second half, Sosuhana found the back of the net after a pass from Khao Sok Peng. He bagged the Warriors' second goal and the win in the 55th minute. Cambodia then knuckled down to see out the match 2-1. Having won the first leg of the playoff 1-0, Cambodia advanced to the third round of the Asian Championships with an aggregate score of 3-1 over Guam. The kingdom joins 23 other teams in the third round, which will be drawn into 6 groups of 4 teams each. This third round will kick off in February and run through to the end of September. The finals will be held in China in 2023. They call it the beautiful game, but it was far from that at Wembley Stadium on Tuesday night. England played host to Hungary in their World Cup qualifier, but it was the Hungarian fans who stole the show for all the wrong reasons.
The match had barely started when dozens of Hungary fans clashed with bat-wielding police. Around 600 fans were squeezed into a small corner of the stadium. Many were dressed in the black t-shirts of the right-wing ultras group who follow the country's football team. It's unclear what triggered the violence, but it started as soon as stewards entered the section. More police then arrived and traded blows with the fans. As for the match, Hungary drew first blood in the 24th minute. England equalized 13 minutes later to secure the draw.
As the world slowly moves into a new normal, for fans of Barcelona, they're now living in a post-pandemic world. Their team will be able to play in front of capacity crowds from Friday. The regional government has confirmed that it is lifting pandemic-era restrictions that have limited fan numbers at the Nou Camp. Catalonia's regional president, Pere Aragonés, confirmed on Tuesday that all outdoor sporting venues can return to 100% capacity from Friday the 15th of October. Spain's central government lifted restrictions on the 1st of the month, but Catalonia chose not to lift capacity above 60% before Tuesday's announcement. Barcelona have not been able to play in front of a capacity crowd since the pandemic first shut down football in March 2020. A crowd of up to 99,354 will now be able to watch Ronald Koeman's side host Valencia on Sunday. The move also means that Barca's city rivals and fellow La Liga club Espanyol will also be able to sell out their 40,000 RCDE stadium. It's a mouth-watering taste of what we can all hope for in the weeks and months to come. Tennis players planning to compete at the Australian Open in Melbourne are being encouraged to get vaccinated by the Australian government. The state of Victoria, of which Melbourne is the capital, has introduced a vaccine mandate for all professional athletes, but authorities have yet to clarify whether this applies to athletes from overseas. Victoria Sports Minister Martin Pakula has urged players to leave no room for doubt. He says getting vaccinated gives players the best opportunity to play, with the extent of the mandate expected to be clarified in the coming weeks. Both the women's WTA and the men's ATP tours have urged players to get vaccinated, but some have expressed reservations, including reigning Australian Open champion Novak Djokovic, who is opposed to vaccine mandates. Tennis Australia, which organises the Grand Slam event, has not disclosed any arrangements for players for the upcoming tournament in January, but fully vaccinated players are expected to enjoy more freedoms to move around and might well be able to avoid the country's mandatory 14-day quarantine. Australia's borders remain effectively shut to all non-residents. It is not known if unvaccinated people would even be allowed to enter the country by the time the Australian Open rolls around on the 17th of January. All right, let's have a look at what the weather's playing at tomorrow. And finally, seeing the Aurora Borealis is on a lot of people's bucket lists, and millions of people across the upper northern hemisphere were lucky enough to see them on Tuesday night. The night lights were brought on by a massive solar storm. The most vivid strands of light danced across the night sky over the Canadian province of Alberta. These strands of the Earth's magnetic field were lit up due to the impact of what's known as a coronal mass ejection, a huge pulse of energy from the sun, otherwise known as a solar storm. Elsewhere across Alberta, purple swirls of light could also be seen. This footage was shot near Cooking Lake. The person who filmed it described the spectacle as awe-inspiring. The lights were also enjoyed in other parts of the upper northern hemisphere, including the US state of North Dakota, as well as parts of the UK. According to NASA, this week's Aurora Borealis was ignited by a particularly large solar eruption, which is why it was able to be seen in so many places. Thanks for watching the Daily Roundup here on the EAC News Channel. We'll get more breaking news and updates from our website. Head to www.eacnews.asia. You can also search for EAC News on Telegram and at your favorite app store. More from the EAC News team in the Daily Roundup tomorrow night at 8. I will see you then.